Now the latest on the Ohio mother who disappeared, setting off a nationwide search before she turned up in Florida with another man. In a moment, we're going to talk live to Tiffany Tehan and the man she ran off with, Hutcherson. But first, here's Andrea Canning with more on this story.
He says she's his angel, his true love. Call it a fresh start for Hutcherson and Tiffany Tehan after enduring nationwide humiliation. Their forbidden love led her to leave behind her husband and one-year-old daughter, Lexi. He abandoned his wife through a text message. Months ago, the couple hatched their plan to run away together at this convenience store where they first met. Tehan left her SUV in this Ohio park with an intentional flat tire, and the pair was off to Florida to, quote, start a new life. These photos licensed by GMA from the couple document their life on the run in Miami Beach. But what they weren't counting on was coast-to-coast media coverage that led police right to them. The couple now faces the reality of life back in Ohio. Tehan's husband says he wants her back.
She may have made some mistakes, but everyone does.
But Hutcherson says he's in this forever. As for Tehan, she's taking things one day at a time. For Good Morning America, Andrea Canning, ABC News.
And joining us for their first live television interview, Tiffany Tehan and Hutcherson. Thank you both very much. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Robin.
Where do we start? I know people have been asking over and over why. Why didn't you tell your husband, talk to him, leave him a message? Why, Tiffany, did you feel that you had to leave in this manner?
I think in a nutshell, I was feeling pretty overwhelmed with life. Just the pressures of work and raising a one-year-old daughter, and honestly not seeing my husband a whole lot just due to our schedules, combined with pressure I felt to be perfect. It just seemed like running away for me, as weird as it sounds, seemed like the best option.
There's some women who are listening to you and they're nodding along in agreement that there are many women that we heard from who feel overwhelmed, feel frazzled, and all those things. It's a daydream, but they don't act upon it. Do you regret that you did?
Yes, it was a very foolish decision to act upon that.
In retrospect, do you wish that you had talked to your husband or left some kind of message? Because your family, they even came on our program, they were frantic, searching for you.
Yes, certainly. I wish that I had handled things completely differently.
Did you know that they were searching for you?
I did not know until we were found by the police that they were looking for me like that, so seriously.
And at the time, did you all think about turning around and coming back and letting people know?
I don't think we had quite reached that decision. Trey, I think, knew a lot more that was going on than I did, and I think that was something he was going to talk to me about the same night that we were found by the police.
So you were more, Trey, of what was going on, the search, the nationwide search?
Right. Well, leaving out of there, Tiffany had decided that she didn't want to know anything about it once we'd left and, in fact, bury her head in the sand and move forward. And I had a netbook with us, and I saw on Wednesday morning that there had been a larger scope in this search, and the nationwide media coverage I think exposed that what was happening, and then I also read that the FBI became involved in the investigation. So at that point I knew that we were on a short time frame before we were going to be found, and we were in South Beach. We had some dinner, and I was going to talk to Tiffany about what was going on and come to a decision to go ahead and call back to the Xenia Police Department and let them know that we were together, she was okay, and we were in Florida, and we probably, if we had just a few more hours, we were going to make the decision to come back on our own, and didn't have the opportunity to do that.
But when we see some of the pictures, it's almost like you all are on your honeymoon down there, that you're enjoying yourself as we see here. I know, Trey, that you sent a text message to your wife, who's now in the process of divorcing you. Who came up with the idea to run away like this? What was the plan behind it?
The idea to run away was kind of a spur-of-the-moment comment I'd made to Tiffany one day after you have a bad day. I said, sometimes I think about getting on the 75 and driving down to Florida and running away from it all. And she just flippantly said, don't forget to take me along. And that was kind of the impetus for us to start making a plan to maybe run away.
We heard you earlier say, Tiffany, that you thought no one would miss you.
I really didn't think anyone would look
Really?
that hard
Oh.
for me. Maybe a little bit, but not nearly what it turned into. I had no idea it would ever become so large.
It makes people very sad to know that you, and I can tell you genuinely felt that way, and for the circumstances that you were in. As I said earlier, some women can understand and they have felt these feelings. There are others that say, but you have a 13-month-old beautiful baby girl. How in the world could you leave her?
Well, to answer that question, I knew that my daughter was being left in very good hands. I would have never, ever left her if I thought that she wouldn't be well cared for. But also, I wanted to take her, and I cried pretty much before I even left, all the way down, and pretty much the whole time I was gone, I was crying and missing her like crazy. And the only reason I didn't take her is because I did not want to trigger an Amber Alert. And in all of this, I never wanted to do anything illegal or criminal.
And no charges as of now have been brought against you. And I know you didn't want to do anything illegal or trigger an Amber Alert, but you had to know the way you, with the car, running over a nail and keeping the keys in the car like that, that people were going to think your family was worried. So there was going to be a search for you.
The ironic thing about leaving the keys in the car is there's only one set of keys to that vehicle, and so it was a benevolent gesture to keep the keys with the car so that her husband would actually be able to use the vehicle. Of course, looking back at it now, the car was impounded for a week, so that makes no sense, but disabling the vehicle was just as we did the limited amount of things we could do to it. We didn't want to stage a crime scene.
And have you seen your daughter since you've been back? You've been back about a week and a half. Have you been able to see Lexi?
I've seen her one time. I spent a few hours with her.
And what happens now with the both of you?
Right now, my plan is just to get set up with a place to live and hopefully be able to see my daughter as much as possible.
All right. Well, thank you both very much for coming in and talking with us this morning. We appreciate it.